Hello, everybody, and welcome to a Slice of Gaming podcast. I am your host, the Uncharted Wolf, and today I am joined by only one person today. We're going to get a nice little duo cast for admittedly short episode of the show, but some fun tidbits here and there, and we're going to talk about what we've been playing. I'm joined by Fusion.
What up, brother?
How you doing today, Fusion? You doing good?
I'm doing good. Just had about 30 pieces of sushi before this, so my
Oh my
stomach's pretty
god.
full.
Dude, if I had 30 pieces of sushi, I'm like, nope, I'm unavailable. I'm lying down for an hour.
Me and my brothers were like, I went to like one of those sushi like revolving bars.
Yeah, I love
Yeah,
those
it's the first time
places.
I've ever been there. And I did not think it was gonna be so much anime. Like all the like little like they had the
Oh,
little robot come up to you and like the screens were all like anime. I was like, this is pretty cool. But so it's first time there, me and my two brothers, and I was like, before we in there, we all agreed we'll just split the bill. Whatever the bill is, we'll split it between three of us. We ate 35 plates, which is a lot.
wait,
That
each
bill,
or together?
no,
Okay.
together. So like just together. That bill was $180.
Yep.
I said, dude, but we did get like it's sake, right, or sake?
Sake, yeah.
Yeah, we got that. So like I had a little bit of that, and we did get some beers. But I was like, dude, I did not expect to spend $60 on some sushi. But it was good. I am very
Yeah.
full though.
Yeah, those revolving places, I go like once a month because they usually are about $50 to $60 every time I go. But it's so much fun. It's like just self-serve. Like you said, there is a lot of like just Japanese culture stuff, which is very fun. I think the one near me did a Pikmin collaboration, and they had like kind of exclusive like little Pikmin merch and stuff. I'm like, hell yeah, this is awesome.
Hey, that's
Uh,
crazy. That would be cool to see.
Yeah, exactly. It's cool. It's I love revolving sushi bars. They're a ton of fun. I've always wanted to go to one in Japan because I heard they're even better over there. But it's like, Japan trip. Who has the money for that?
Yeah. Go spend a couple $1,000 to go get some sushi.
Honestly, yeah. I mean, I'll do it.
I mean, Japan's definitely a spot I would like to go to one day too. But
Right.
yeah, it's first time there, so like I knew it wasn't going to be cheap because sushi by
Yeah,
nature
of
isn't
course.
like cheap. But like I was not expecting $60. I was like, oh, maybe spend like $30 here or something. But also, again, we did eat 35 plates like all together, so like I understand that is a lot of sushi that we
But
consumed.
what's your favorite one that you had?
See, I'm not good with names. That's the one issue. There was one I couldn't tell you what the name was, but it
Hmm.
was salmon of some sort. Like it had salmon in it, but
Oh, okay.
it was very good. But I tried it. It was my first time, like, because I've had sushi in the past, and like I dabble in sushi. Like I
Yeah.
wouldn't say sushi is one of my favorite things, but it's a thing that like every once in a while, like you said, once a month maybe I'll get some sushi. And
Yeah.
so I just tried a bunch of random stuff at this place because this was the first time where it just like I saw it in front of me. I was like, I'll try that. I still am pretty weary about like I don't like eel or octopus. Like I
Oh,
see those
dude,
things, I just
those are my
I let them go
favorites.
by.
I love eel.
So like one day I would like to try those type of things, but I don't know. I'm
You
still
should at least
something
try
about the
eel
raw
sauce.
fish texture is just a little. It's still a little off to me. I
I get
like
that.
I can deal with the raw fish in the sushi, but I like it when it's like more in the middle of the roll and like I get some texture around it. I don't like just biting into quote unquote raw fish.
Yeah, I get that. It's you get used to it eventually, but I get why like a lot of people just aren't into the idea of raw fish. Um, but this isn't a food podcast, Future. This is a video game podcast, so we should get back into it. Like I said, it's not a lot of news today, so that's why we were able to kind of talk a little bit about that. If you guys want to find us, YouTube, Spotify, every other podcast platform, we're on it. Review us on Apple Podcasts. That helps out a ton, gets us into the algorithm. And also follow us on Twitter and Blue Sky at A Slice of Gaming. I think we're just ready to get into it. Fusion, we were talking that there's a situation going on with Krafton and Subnautica. Let me tell you, this is by far the biggest news of the week, and also the news that kind of broke yesterday, so we don't even have all the details to it. Ash Parrish at The Verge got a pretty good write up of everything. Krafton slams ex Subnautica 2 execs who now says they're suing. Subnautica 2 has been at the center of a contentious debate between leadership at its developer Unknown Worlds and the game's publisher Krafton Game. At stake is a $250 million payout promised to Unknown Worlds if the studio hits certain revenue targets by the end of the year, but a company shakeup and the subsequent delay of Subnautica 2 had rocked the studio and potentially imperiled the promised payout, and now one of Unknown Worlds' fired founders says they're suing. On July 2nd, Krafton announced that Steve Paputis, CEO of Callisto Protocol, studio, Striking Distance, would be taking over as the CEO of Unknown Worlds, replacing the current leadership of Ted Gill, Charlie Cleveland, and Max McGuire with immediate effect. The following week, on July 9th, Unknown Worlds announced that early access for Subnautica 2 would be delayed to 2026. According to the announcement, Subnautica 2 was in good shape, but closed testing revealed some insight that there are a few areas we need to improve. That same day, Bloomberg's Jason Schreier reported that this delay was against the wishes of Unknown World's former leadership and that there were serious financial implications for this delay. According to Schreier's report, when Krafton purchased Unknown Worlds in 2021, it promised a $250 million bonus to the studio if it hit revenue targets by the end of 2025. Schreier's reportings also indicated that the bonus was planned to be shared among the studio's roughly 100 employees, with some being promised bonuses in the seven figures. With Subnautica 2's delay, those revenue targets will likely not be hit and those bonuses not paid out. In a statement to Bloomberg, Krafton said the delay was only to improve Subnautica 2's quality, and it's possible to envision a situation where Krafton delayed the game in order to get out of paying the bonus. And then, however, Krafton issued a new statement that seemingly throws cold water over this interpretation. The statement says Krafton had allocated approximately 90% of the up to $250 million earnout compensation to the three former executives, with the expectation that the executives would demonstrate leadership and active involvement in the development of Subnautica 2. The statement then accused the ousted leadership of essentially abandoning development on the game while reaffirming fair and equitable compensation for all remaining Unknown Worlds employees. I mean, listen, Fusion, I'll be honest. This story is a fucking mess. It is. I put corporate drama, and it's more like a corporate catfight. Just a lot of yelling and screaming. Effectively, Krafton did the one thing I never thought a publisher would do and say against the developer, no, you need a delay. We'll delay it for you. Which is, I mean, they say it's for quality. That's a load of bullshit. It's obvious that they just want to avoid paying this $250 million payout, which, I mean, that sounds illegal. I don't know about you, but that sounds very illegal.
There definitely has to be some type of legal things around this, which is why they're getting the lawsuit. Like, there's definitely something here where it's like, I'm sure they can do this. I'm sure it's actually is very legal and they're able to just get away with this because this is what corporates do all the time. I'm sure that we just don't hear about in other mediums, but it is pretty crazy to me because we heard a few months ago that like this game was looking pretty good and like we knew it was going to come out in early access or whatever this year. And people were excited for it, and it looked good. And then they're just like, "Just kidding." They're like, "We're actually just not going to put this out." It's very weird, and it's an interesting story because it feels like every day we've gotten more information. It's like as a day goes by, we get like a little bit more just of something of a Jason Schreier article or someone else just putting more information out there.
Mm-hmm.
It's very weird. I would never take the side of the corporation, but I also do think there is maybe a very slight chance that maybe the game wasn't up to the quality they wanted, and they did put the delay out there, and then they weren't even thinking twice about that bonus. But in today's society, especially after what we just saw from Xbox a week ago, I'm gonna lean more toward no. They knew this was definitely a thing, and they just didn't want to pay out that money, which is absolutely awful for all those employees. But we're not going to know until we know, type thing, until like the lawsuit goes through and everything else, and we get it more figured out when actual judges and other people are involved. We're just going to be a waiting game of just pointing fingers.
I don't know. Did you watch Kyle Bossman's video this morning?
I did.
Yeah, he brought up something at the end about this thing. One of the founders is kind of weird, and that he's very like obsessed with movies and like wanting to make a movie. And he uses like AI art as like thumbnail images for his movie. It's one of those things where like you look at that, it's like, okay, maybe like there's a little bit of validity in the statement from Krafton that like they were distracted and not paying attention. But also, who gives a shit? Like they're clearly, the game is ready. They did their job. Release the game. It's ready. Again, it's early access, so people are fine with some bugs and glitches because there is an understanding that if you pay for a game in early access, the game is not going to be fully complete. I don't understand this whole situation. I am really awaiting more from every party involved. These are the stories in the gaming industry, Fusion, where I'm like, man, I gotta get a business degree to fully figure this out, or like wait for like a Hogue Law breakdown or something, because there's so many moving parts to this whole thing, and now I'm like, uh, I played Death Stranding 2 today, and that was fun. Like, that's the easy part of the podcasting. Then you get into the business stuff, and you're like, oh shit, okay, let me try to figure this out.
It goes over our
Basically,
heads, and I feel like
craft
we
on site,
have
like the big thing.
we have a lot of not a lot, but I feel like we get more of these stories more often than we did a long time ago. Like, I feel like we get these business type stories a few times a year, and then we come on the podcast, and like most of us just have no idea. It just goes over our head, and we just have to like talk about the little parts we know. But it was funny watching that Kyle video where at the very end he goes like, "If I was this dude, I would just quit the podcast and act like it never existed," or whatever he said. He said, "Just take it offline. Like, I don't want this out in the air."
Podcast.
Which is probably honestly good advice, because I'm sure in a court of law or something they could use this and be like, "Hey, look at this guy. He's doing his podcast on the side, and he's supposed to be making this game."
Yeah,
And
but
like,
also that'd be like you're hiding it if you try to delete it now. They
yeah,
could use that against him.
yeah, there's definitely a lot of things. I'm sure they already have backups of backups of backups of those podcasts. Like, I'm sure they're like,
Yeah,
they've got that podcast under wraps and probably have everything they need for it. So like, it's
exactly.
just like you said, it's a weird situation overall, and I could see this be a storyline where it goes on for the next year, 18 months or something before
That's
we
my
actually get
prediction.
like any type of information from here. I'm sure like it'll be like November of 2026 will finally be like, "Hey, this was what happened in this thing that happened 18 months ago," and we'll be like, "Okay,
When was that?
like this
Wait,
finally
what happened
happened."
again? That's the problem with these type of stories in the legal world is that you just don't get a resolution for a while, and it's like, I guess we're just gonna meander and like, okay, we covered it, and now we wait 18 months. It, like you said, it comes up again, and we're just like, oh shit, what was this? Like, oh, this happened. Okay, good, I guess. I don't know. I hope the employees it works out for them because like it was like 100-person dev team. They worked hard on this game. It was clearly ready, and Krafton just kind of like saying, well, no, actually, we're not going to let you get your bonuses that you very clearly worked hard for. So yeah, pretty unfortunate situation. So I'm really hoping we get a good resolution out of it.
Yeah, hopefully, like you said, for the employee's sake, and hopefully, if this is the situation and it does end up happening this way, and these employees don't get a bonus, hopefully this puts like a spotlight on corporations and companies in the future to be like, they can't get away with this again. Like, this shouldn't happen
They
around the
are
industry
though.
where like bonus. Oh, for sure. Again, I still mind blowing to me that there isn't a video game union. Like, I know they've slowly been working towards it, but it is insane to me that the devs don't have a union at this point. Every other medium out there has one, and it works very well. I don't understand why. I'm not saying the devs aren't trying their hardest to unionize, but it feels like they can make a more. They could get together more often and figure it out than I feel like the industry is right now.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, man. Well, let's move into our next story. Here's something that we can actually understand and talk about. Ghost of Yotei got a state of play. This was kind of teased last month in the general state of play that it's going to get a full deep dive presentation. And now we got our full gameplay deep dive, around 20 minutes, give or take. We both watched this live fusion, and I think safe to say we're both impressed, but we're also waiting for like, there's a certain thing we're kind of weirded out, not weirded out wary about, which is the story.
Yeah. We both like I think me and you were the only people who did watch live. Actually, I think Jack. I forget if Jack watched live. Jack
I
definitely
think
watched it,
Navi
but
did.
oh yeah, I think Navi did turn like after the carrier pigeon came to him. So, like, he finally got in there and got the information. But yeah, I think we'll obviously go into more details, but we're both in a similar spot where like, yes, we're excited for this game. Like, it's gonna be more Ghost, which is at the end of the day, we both love that first game. Like, we both love
Mhm.
Tsushima. So like, I am excited, but on paper, the story just seems so much less interesting than Tsushima did.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just at this moment I look at like what the narrative structure is of, oh, it's about a revenge plot. And I'm not trying to sit here and say that like revenge plots are bad. I mean, Fusion, your favorite game of all time, Last of Us 2, that is a revenge story. But I just think on the offset of the idea of like, oh, this is a story about revenge, there's nothing that's immediately grabbing me to make me go like, this is going to be a really interesting one. It's, oh, these 6 guys came and killed her family, and now she's going to go out and kill each one of them. It just doesn't get me excited. I'm hoping what happens is, okay, the overall narrative doesn't interest me, but man, I love this cast of characters so much that I'm just completely fine with it.
Yeah, I think it is that thing where again, we're speculating about a game we're not going to get hands on for 3 months, but it's that thing where the story at its base seems kind of shallow, and you're like, okay, just another revenge samurai Japanese story. Like, we have a billion of those. We just had one actually 3 months ago with AC Shadows. Like, we just played one.
Yeah.
I think that's one thing, as someone who played 50 hours of Assassin's Creed Shadows, I have a little bit more pushback as well, because I'm like, I just basically played this type of story. But Assassin's Creed Shadows didn't have the characters, and they didn't have the characters or the character moments where like I actually felt like I cared about the characters and I felt and to elevate the story. I think Sucker
Mhm.
Punch would do a better job at just the basis of, hey, Atsu, that's her name, right? Atsu.
Atsu, yeah.
Oh yeah, okay. So like that she will at least be. I think she'll be a good enough written character that she can elevate, even if the story, the baseline story, is just okay. And even not even saying, I don't think Ghost of Tsushima's story is like super enthralling and like super complex either. And I know a lot of people who actually think that story is just mid and fine. But I think it's Jin Sakai and the people they put around Jin that elevates that story, and the way they do side quests and the way the characters interact that makes that story feel a little bit more special. Where I'm sure
Yeah.
Sucker Punch is just gonna do the same thing here. I think they're just gonna have a steeper hill to climb from the baseline.
Yeah, and I look at the narrative for Ghost of Tsushima, and it's like it is like not the deepest thing in the world, like you said, but I do really appreciate like what it has to say about the idea of honor, which I just, as someone who loves a lot of samurai media, it's like, oh, this is a different way where it's like, what is honor? Does it kind of cripple you in the sense of like protecting your homeland because of this, so-called honor that apparently is so important to withhold. And I found that so fun, especially when they utilize that from a gameplay standpoint, where at a certain point it's like, no, you can't be the ghost anymore, the samurai anymore. You have to be the ghost. It's like that was such a very strong story setup for me that just if we're comparing story setups, this one's substantially less interesting, especially when I feel like there was just better ways to go about it. But again, I think everything else they showed here did look awesome. Visually, the game is gorgeous. Obviously, I think we already knew that at this point. But also, I mean, like you look at all the different modes and like especially the weapon variety. Oh man, I love how they replace stances with these new weapons.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I think it is going to be a better change, because I thought that I actually really like the stance combat from Tsushima. Like, I think that was a cool way to switch it up and
Yeah,
like
same.
remember. I remember going back at some point. I don't know if it was for the DLC or something. I tried to learn those stances for the enemy variety
Mhm.
again. I was so confused. But like at the end of the day, I really do like that combat system. But I think this is the perfect way of making us now have to use all the weapons. Because if they introduce 4 or 5 new weapons, but you keep the same stance combat stuff, I'm never gonna use probably. I'm gonna stick to one weapon and only use that weapon. Where it's like
Oh yeah.
now you're gonna make me hopefully have to actually use these other things, and maybe not perfect them all, but at least have it where it's just like, okay, I have to use this against this guy, this versus this guy, where it will make the combat more engaging. So I am down with the idea of, since we're adding new weapons, let's change up the stance system so people actually have to use the new weapons and they're not just being put into the game to be put into the game.
Yeah, I'm really worried I'm just gonna only use the Odachi and nothing else. Because I'm just like, hell yeah, big sword, I want to use that. But I mean, dual swords look super cool too. I look at it and I'm like, man, I really hope they never like they allow me to just never even touch the spear of Kusara Gami. Because I just look at those two and I'm like, nah, I don't. I can't imagine playing a samurai game and going, I'm gonna use a spear.
Yeah,
It's like that's what the bad guys use, you know?
I haven't used the spear in the game since like Assassin's Creed Shadows. I'm not Shadows. Odyssey. I had like a for
Yeah.
that game. There was like a suit. I had a spear that did like poison damage. That spear was sick. But I'm kind of with you as well, where it's like that's my one somewhat worry is that some of the weapons don't feel as good as the other ones, and then I'm kind of forced into it. Where okay, this enemy type's here, and now I have to use the spear, and it's like I really. And if the spear doesn't feel good, then that could be a con at the end of the day compared to a pro, where it should be. If the spear feels good enough, then it should be fun for me to have to change and switch to the spear real quick. But I'm with you there, where like I saw the dual swords, and like I immediately was like, I want the whole playthrough to be dual swords. Like that's all I want. Like I want to parry with those things, and I want to get kills with those things. But it's also like like personally to me, I never want to touch a gun. Like I know I'm
Yeah,
weird.
I can feel
The
that.
guns still feel out of place to me. I know there were guns there, and like this is like historically is accurate, but like in a game like this, I love the bow and arrow from the first Ghost, and I'm sure I'm gonna love the bow here, especially for stealth combat. But for some reason, there was the same thing with I think Rise of the Ronin had guns, where it's just like you add these guns into this like Japanese old game, and it's just like I
Samurai.
understand historically accurate, like there were guns there, but like to me, it adds another layer of just like goofiness, which is just me being ignorant, but like that's just my perspective on it.
Can't be racist, Fusion.
Like,
No, I get what you mean. I personally am cool with them. I am a big fan of like the historical standpoint. There's something I really like about just guns in a samurai setting where it's like, oh yeah, that's cool. Sekiro had guns too, but you didn't use guns. The enemy would use guns, and I guess that's kind of part of it. Is like I like the idea more of like the enemies using these guns. It's like, no, I'm too badass for a gun. I'm just gonna use my sword. Like that feels cool, honestly. So I assume there's probably gonna be a lot of enemies who use guns too.
there
Um,
was a lot of enemies that had bows in Tsushima, so yeah, it wouldn't surprise me.
that's one thing I actually really wanted to shout out. At one point, they talked about like different enemy types, and I was actually kind of surprised. It's like they even showed like, oh, there's these snow bandits that like hide in the snow and ambush you, and I'm like, huh, that's actually cool that they found a way to create more enemy variety within what is a constricted setting where you can't just go like, oh, this guy has a laser sword now. It's like, okay, well, you gotta stick historically accurate. It's like, okay, these guys ambush you in the snow. It's like that's fun.
I'm sure it's gonna be a jump scare that first time it happens as
Oh yeah,
well. You just
oh
know
yeah.
it. You're walking along, and next thing you know, is you gonna be four men jump out of the snow at you.
And then last thing, I want to shout out the Mike mode and Watanabe mode. I think it's just really cool that there is more stuff than the Kurosawa mode, which I admittedly didn't play too much, but I messed around with it. It's like that's fun. And then having like, hey, here's this mode that like puts you really close and to the camera and like very aggressive blood splatter like Mike's movies. And Watanabe with the chill lo-fi beats, it's like that's really fun. Like honoring an anime, which I think is actually really funny. It was like kind of this realistic art style and like this realistic game. And it's like here's this mode that like kind of calls back to this like legendary anime.
Yeah, there are modes that, like you said, I personally will probably not touch any of them. Like I might just like mess around with it, but like it's never. I'm never gonna run a full playthrough with any of these modes. But
Yeah.
I
So,
love the idea of just them doing it. It was that thing where it's like
mhm.
they obviously found success in Tsushima using the one mode, so they're like, okay, how can we add these two other ones? And then, as from an internet perspective, it seems like a lot of people are excited. Like,
Oh yeah.
I think a lot of people will play this way, which is cool for them. It's just like for me
Mhm.
personally, I'm not going to touch them, but again, more options is always cool.
And then yeah, from there, Japanese lip sync at launch, which I think is really cool that it's actually going to be there day one. And I what's it called? They showed off like this campfire thing where you can like talk to your allies and whatnot and kind of improve your situation. And also they showed back hot springs are back, which I don't know why I thought they would remove them, but I'm like, oh okay, that's actually cool that they brought them back. But yeah, I don't know. Overall, this was a good state of play. I will be honest with you though. I don't think it really did much for my hype. I'm like, okay, well, I was already sold. I guess I'm just like sitting there like, yeah, I'm not excited for, or I'm not like, oh my god, give me Ghost of Yotei now. I'm like, okay, when it comes out, I'm gonna be playing it day one.
Yeah, I'm in a weird spot because it is like I would say my most anticipated for the rest of the year. But
Hmm.
before that event, it was probably my most anticipated for the rest of the year type thing, where it's just like
Yeah.
I'm just happy we got more raw gameplay because that was a weird spot where I know like Blessing specifically from Kind of Funny talked about like he did not have to see any more of the game. He's like he thought he saw enough. In my opinion, we didn't see like anything. Like we've seen the game
Yeah.
what once. Like we haven't seen like the game needed this. Like the game did need a showcase like this. It's just like it showed so much that I thought looked really good, and again, I'm very excited for it. But it's also just like I
Mhm.
knew at a baseline what we were getting because it's a sequel or another Ghost game. That I was like, I knew the like in my head, I could tell you what Ghost of Yotei looked like before we saw it, and it's like
Yeah.
I'm still super excited about that. But it's not like they came out and showed us a billion different things that was brand new that I could be like, oh my gosh, this is incredible. It just looks like a really really good video game.
Yeah. You know, it's at the end of the day, it's like, hey, this is a sequel to Ghost of Tsushima. They're kind of fixing some pain points for the original game when it comes to open world traversal, which I'm interested to see more of as we get closer to release. And yeah, I think right now, I think what this game needs to do for me personally, Fusion, for me to like it more than the sequel, because I am the person who likes Spider-Man 1 more than Spider-Man 2 because I wasn't a big fan of the story in Spider-Man 2, at least like certain aspects of it really frustrated me. So even with the gameplay improvements, I'm like, okay, well, like it didn't necessarily like I like the gameplay more than enough in Spider-Man 1, basically. That's how I felt. So I'm like, okay, so I just get Spider-Man 1 again with slight gameplay improvements, but a worse story. And I'm really like we were talking about this. It's like we think that's probably what's gonna happen with Ghost of Yotei. I really hope that they kind of surprise me with this narrative. And it's like, no, actually it goes in a completely different direction and it's really sick.
Yeah, I'm there with you. I wonder, do you think even if the narrative isn't as good as Tsushima, if the characters are good enough that it could be a situation where you overlook like the story just being okay? Like, because I feel like
Yeah.
the comparison also to Spider-Man and Spider-Man 2 is like, I also felt like the characters, a lot of the characters in Spider-Man 2 weren't as fleshed out and strong as they were in Spider-Man. So I think
Yeah.
it was the combo of, hey, this story wasn't as strong, and like Peter Parker, Spider-Man, like Miles Morales, they did not feel as strong as they did in like the prior game. So I wonder if they can at least find a balance of, hey, you might not have Jin, but like these other characters here are really good and really strong, and our story might not hit the same. I wonder if like they can strike a balance where they know they're never going to be able to tell a story as good as that one,
Hmm.
but the characters around it they're able to write better. I don't know. It's gonna. It's we're both in a similar spot where it's just gonna be again. We're not gonna know until we play it. But we're
Of
just fun to
course.
speculate.
I think for me, it's just like I really do question if it's possible for me to like Atsu more than Jin. And like, listen, Atsu's barely spoken, but like I can already tell it's like, oh, she's gonna be the strong silent type. Like I'm just like immediately like I don't care about her yet. And maybe when I play the game, it's like, wait, no, actually, she's awesome. It's just at this moment, she just does nothing for me character wise, and there's nothing that gets me really excited to learn more about her story. Whereas like Jin, I was immediately interested in, and you know, fair enough. Like he was also very much the strong silent type, but I feel like I don't know, maybe I'm misremembering, but I feel like there was a lot of like moments of like personality with Jin, especially like he wasn't just this strict like honor coded guy. So like maybe that's why in my mind he's a lot more different than I remember, but maybe I'm just misremembering. It's been like 5 years since I played that game.
I know. I'm with you, Wish. I like Jin a lot, but a lot of people do not like Jin Sakai. Like I think Gene Park is
Mhm.
someone. Now he's very much in the camp where he thought Jin Sakai was a boring character, and like I know some people share that because Jin
Boring
does not
person.
open up a lot. He gets a lot better when you like do the father DLC and all of that stuff. But I'm
Yeah,
kind of
I
in a
never
similar
played
boat.
that.
I like Erika Ishii a lot, which is the American voice actress for, or I
There you
wouldn't say
go.
American, but English
What's
voice
she
actress
in?
for. She's she just did Rook for Dragon Age. She's
Mm,
in I don't know if you played Stray Gods. She's Hermes in Stray Gods.
I know none of the things she is in.
I know.
Okay, well,
I don't
sorry,
know if you would
Erica.
know a lot of the things. She's I'm trying to think of her biggest role. Rook might be her biggest role.
Oh, she's in
She's
Apex.
yeah, she's Sector in Mortal Kombat.
Oh, she's Valkyrie. I remember now.
Oh yeah, she's Valkyrie in Apex. Okay, yeah. So like, she's getting more roles now. Like than I think she had. Like she's becoming a bigger voice actress.
Yeah.
It's like that's why when I play Dragon Age, it's funny when I play Dragon Age, I purposely picked Erica because I was like, I'm gonna prepare. This will be my first time seeing her be a lead role in a game to prepare myself for Yotei.
Uh-huh.
But from the few clips I've seen, I'm not out on it, but I'm also like I am kind of leaning towards doing the Japanese.
Wow.
So
You're
like
not you're not a sub guy usually.
no, I'm not. I'm not a sub guy ever. So like the fact that
Is
I'm
it that
leaning
you don't
towards
like reading subtitles? Is that it?
I don't mind subtitles,
Oh,
especially
okay.
like there's like some TV shows I would put like
It's just
subtitles on,
preference.
and I put subtitles on every video game. It's more of the preference of I'm gonna try to say this in the best way I can. I
Oh
feel
man,
like
guys, get
I
ready
get
for racism.
there's just I could feel like I feel more emotion from like when I can understand like if a character's like
Oh, that's
going
normal.
for an emotional, an emotional impactful moment, and they're like giving it their all, and this voice actor like is just laying it all out there. When I can actually don't have to sit there and read the subtitles, and I can just hear what's happening, it feels way more impactful to me than like
Yeah.
having to sit there and just read the subtitles. Where I'm like, oh, this is impactful, but it's not nearly as impactful as me just watching and listening.
It should be no, like I prefer dub as well, but mostly for mostly for different reasons because I have a goldfish brain and sometimes I'm not paying attention and I have an easier time paying attention if I understand what's happening. But usually I like doing sub if it's like this is a Japanese setting, so I'm like, oh okay, I want to have the
Yeah,
Japanese subtitles.
and
But
I
I get
definitely,
what you mean.
yeah, and I get why like you and Binch and many other people will do that, and it makes sense. Like to feel more immersed, you're in Japan. Like my
Mhm.
one thing is usually it kind of depends also on the dev team for me. Sucker Punch is a very American
Oh yeah.
Washington dev where I'm like they're English focused first. Where it's like if this was a team from Japan or like something like that, I could 100% see myself being more inclined. But still, I'm very 50-50 at the moment, which shocks me
It's
because
like you know what it is? It's like I can hear her American accent, so it just sounds so off to me. Whereas like Jin, I feel like it definitely sounded like a Japanese guy.
yeah,
Maybe that's a weird
Jin
thing.
was a real, and again it's kind
Yeah,
of
we
unfair
haven't
because we're
played the
talking
game.
about three. Yeah,
Yeah,
we're
it
talking
was like
about
three
three different
lines.
lines that we've heard. But I am right there with you. When she said a line in the state of
Like,
play
damn, she's
yesterday,
from New York.
where I was like, yeah, that wasn't as what I was. It wasn't what I was looking for. And
Yeah,
from the one line I heard, which again we're judging off of one line. So once
exactly.
reviews come out and we hear about either how good or bad she is, like I'm sure I'll have an actual. I'm sure I'm not going to know what I'm going to play it until I play it. Like it's going to be that
Yeah.
type of situation where until I actually get hands on and can decide what I'm going to do, it's just speculation at this point.
Hmm. Yeah. No, I'm right there with you, man. I think it's tough to just fully feel our viewpoints and excitement for this game because I do think there is a weird amount that we still don't know yet. But it also just comes down to it's like, yeah, it's probably better we don't know more about the story because I don't want to get spoiled. So I think this is I'm so excited for that review embargo type game where I'm like, I want to know what other people think and if our fears are unfounded on or it's like, no, actually we were right.
Yeah, and this is, I mean, and you got for PlayStation, this is their biggest exclusive since what, Spider-Man 2?
Yeah, if you don't count yeah, if you don't count Death Stranding too. I was gonna say
Yeah, I'm not,
Astrobot, but that's not
but
as
no,
big
yeah,
financially.
it's big to us, and yes, it won Game of the Year, but I'm
It's
talking about
big to us, baby.
from a casual like big budget. This is PlayStation, like the
Normie.
PS4 era stuff. Like this is the biggest moment for PlayStation since Spider-Man 2.
Mhm.
I mean, didn't Go sell like a not a crazy
10
amount of copies,
million.
but it sold. Yeah, I would just say 10 million copies,
It
which is
sold
like
very well.
so like from Twitter and everything else, it seems people are into it. Which is
Yeah, no, I'm
if you're
excited.
like normally on Twitter, all I see is how every game sucks and every game's gonna fail. So the fact that people are coming out from that show yesterday excited, like I think this game's gonna do very well.
And I don't know if I was able to train my algorithm right. Not a single person screaming woke. Things are good, baby.
That is
I'm feeling good.
that is good. Well, probably because they ran out of tears from when it first got announced, and there wasn't just a guy and there was a
I have
female,
to
and they're
play
like, we
as a
can't do this. Yeah,
woman. uh, whatever. It's best to ignore them. One thing I don't want to ignore is a game that's coming out next week, Donkey Kong Bonanza. A big interview with IGN happened where we learned some details about kind of the development around this game, and these are the big tidbits I want to pull out. Stealth 40K has this. According to Donkey Kong Bonanza producer Kenta Motokura, Donkey Kong Bonanza exists because Yoshiaki Koizumi asked the Mario Odyssey team for a 3D Donkey Kong game. Kazuya Takashi is the director of Donkey Kong Bonanza. He is actually a relatively new hire from Square Enix who worked on Final Fantasy 15 and spent years at Sega. And then finally, Donkey Kong Bonanza was originally a Nintendo Switch 1 game. Now, that last one, I'm not surprised about. I think a lot of the Switch 1 games got repurposed into Switch 2 games. Mario Kart World was one of them where they didn't get it to work on a Switch 1. So, like, okay, we'll just make it a Switch 2 game. And I think Bonanza, especially if you look at the voxel technology that they were talking about how they used for this game from Mario Odyssey, they kind of improved it in this game. And I was like, yeah, it'll run a lot better on a Switch 2. Imagining this game on a Switch 1 scares me. I don't even want to think about it.
they
um,
already said that. even the Switch 2 version was having frame drop, so I cannot imagine the Switch
Yeah.
1 version.
Running at 10 FPS, baby. But I want to move into kind of the development team thing. So it's interesting. So Yoshiaki Koizumi, let me get you the rundown, Fusion. So he's the producer of the 3D Mario games, and in Japan, producer is actually like you're much more heavily involved with the game. So he was very heavily involved with all the 3D Mario games. He's not working on this at all. He very much was like he wanted a 3D Donkey Kong game, and they set up a team to create this Bonanza. And it seems like it's still a very high amount of the team because they also revealed that the producer of or not the producer, the director of Mario Odyssey is producing this game. And what's interesting, I find, is that the new director is an outside hire, which honestly, to me, Fusion, I had a back and forth with Bop about this, but this tells me it's like, yeah, it's pretty clear they split. The Mario Odyssey team split into two teams. The effectively they probably formed this team around when Kazuya, the new director, joined Nintendo, which was around 2020. They formed this team to work on Donkey Kong, and then the other half of like Koizumi and that guard and whoever else, they're working on whatever the next 3D Mario is. The question more so interesting to me is when am I getting 3D Mario? If I had to guess, I would put money on like a 2027 release. I do think they want to not fast track it, but they want to say, no, it is coming. Don't worry. It's not like you're waiting a long time, like a 3D Mario length of time between them. It's like it is very much fast approaching, I feel, in my opinion. I don't know. What do you think? It's kind of this idea of like uh, the the timeline of this 3D Mario game, if Donkey Kong is like gonna take a while until we get, because we're getting Donkey Kong, it's gonna be a while till we get our boy Mario.
Yeah, as an outsider who does not know the Nintendo dev teams, anything that happens over there, to me it would seem crazy that there wasn't a 3D Mario, not around the corner, but something within the next 2 years. Like, there's no way. Nintendo is smart enough to know that they couldn't have the entire 3D Mario team working on Donkey Kong.
Yeah.
Donkey Kong doesn't have the sauce like that. Like, I'm sure this game's gonna sell well. It's a
Oh
Nintendo
yeah.
first party game, like it's gonna sell well. It's not gonna sell Mario 3D like a 3D Mario well. And Nintendo knows that. They're not dumb. So
Hmm.
I think there is truth behind that whole thing of these studios split and they're still working on 3D Mario. They probably were working on it at the same time.
Hmm.
Donkey Kong was a smaller project in scale, even if it's still a large game for what it is.
Yeah.
Put out Donkey Kong near launch so people can get excited. But then a thing where like a holiday 2026, or if this is a early 2027 game, something like that, where it's just like
Hmm.
you want that second influx of Switch 2 sales, you do it with a 3D Mario. Like
Yeah.
you put Mario Kart out at launch, you have Donkey Kong out a month later, people are gonna buy a crap ton of Switches. We've already seen how much it sold, multi-million,
Mhm.
fastest selling console ever, whatever. Like it did really well.
Yeah. 3.5 million 5 days.
18 months from now, they're gonna need something, and that
Yeah.
what that something is gonna be 3D Mario. And it's like, to me, this is. I know people like me and you would have preferred the 3D Mario now. Like we wanted a 3D Mario. That was one thing that I was kind of bummed about when it was like they were releasing the Switch 2 and there isn't 3D Mario. I think Donkey Kong looks cool. I don't think it looks 3D Mario cool. But
Yeah.
from a business perspective, it makes way more sense to be like, okay, 18 months from now, 3D Mario, and then they just sell like immediately like a million Switches probably the day it comes out. Like something
Yeah.
crazy because just like that brings people like me in who have been waiting for a 3D Mario and haven't bought a Switch 2 yet because it's one of the games not out.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think I get where you're coming from as well. I agree that I do think 3D Mario is something. The end of the day, Mario Odyssey sold 30 million units. You're going to tell that team, it's like, nah, don't worry about 3D Mario. Wait till the end of the generation for 3D Mario to come out. It just, in my eyes, that just doesn't necessarily make sense. And I think, yeah, like you said, Nintendo's smarter than that. They probably have another team working on this 3D Mario as we speak at the moment. One thing I want to shout out under one of Stealth 40K's tweets, uh, Kazuya Takahashi joined Nintendo in 2020, left Luminous Productions before they fully dissolved in 2023. Since 2017, Nintendo has added over 3,000 staff members. Listen, I tell you,
3,000? Wow.
3,000 since 2017, since the launch of the Switch. Listen, there is so much shit I like to give Nintendo, especially when it comes to the legal world and the way they kind of treat consumers and emulation. But the one thing I can't give them shit is like they do treat their employees well, and they hire instead of fire. And after the Xbox story last week, it just feels good to see. It's like at the very least, Nintendo is out here hiring and constantly giving more higher salaries. Which, granted, Japanese employees have a lot lower cost of living or a lot lower salary like peak than a lot of Western devs. But it's lower cost of living there as well, so it's not nearly as much. So I guess I'm just like happy to see it's like at the very least they treat their employees well. It's like I buy a Nintendo game and I don't go like, oh man, are these guys gonna have a job the next day?
It is kind of. Do you know the last time they had layoffs? Because it's very
They
rare
don't
on
they don't do
Nintendo.
layoffs.
I said they don't do layoffs.
They
Like I can't.
there was one kind of small story that they ended contracts for some NOA testers, but that was contract work, and it was basically just the contract ended and they didn't renew. So that's not really layoffs. That's just we just didn't extend your contract basically. But yeah, no, I mean, and people always like to bring up it's like, oh well, because Japan has labor laws against layoffs. It's like, okay, Nintendo has Western teams. They don't do layoffs to any of them. So I think it's a more of a company thing than a because Japan they won't do layoffs.
Hey, for as much shit as I give Nintendo, they could teach. They could teach a few other companies a thing or two about treating employees.
Yeah, exactly. I'm really excited for that Donkey Kong game too. I mean, I know you said like you would rather the 3D Mario, but I'm like two cakes. I want a 3D Donkey Kong game. I'm
Yeah.
pretty happy. I was with you very much like, man, I wish we got 3D Mario, and then the direct got me like, no, I'm happy with this
I was
actually.
going to say my thoughts have changed drastically post Direct. Like before Direct, I was pretty much like, I don't want this game at all. Like I know you guys still wanted it, but I was like, from the early previews we were getting, and then from the first showing, I was like, I would never play this game. Like I honestly don't care about this game. After the Direct, I was very much like, okay, this is way cooler than they showed the first time. Why didn't they show half of this the first time? I have no idea. But that Direct was really good, and then more people got hands on, and people were like really excited about this. So I am more excited. It's definitely a thing where it's like when I pick up the Switch 2 down the line, I'm more inclined to get Donkey Kong than ever, but there's still something from me that it's just missing. I don't know if it's the whole gimmick of just everything smashable and you can break through all these stuff. That's not doing it for me personally. I don't care about smashing the terrain and changing the terrain. I
Yeah,
don't think there's enough. From what I've seen, there's not enough platforming, and it's like I go to these 3D platformers for the platforming, not for the sandbox experience. Personally,
I think there's gonna be more platforming than we expect because the little I played the demo, I kind of saw what was going on. It's like, wait, okay, there is actually a lot of room for platforming, and also they showed off some of those bonus levels. It's like, yeah, these are very much just platformers at this point. But I get what you mean. Yeah,
and I am. I know it's gonna say I prefer 2D platformers. That's just personally.
uh, yeah, that's crazy, but it's okay.
Yeah, I love my
I
2D platformers.
yeah. Moving into something I can shit on Nintendo for. Nintendo announced the end of the Switch game voucher on January 30th, 2026. New Switch games will continue to be added throughout 2026. So this was only for Switch 1, but I don't know if you know about this thing. It was a voucher that if you had NSO, you could say buy two games. It was digital only, so I never used it, but it was if you're gonna buy two games, you could say I want what's two games? Xenoblade Chronicles 3 and Super Mario Odyssey, and they're both $60 because it's Nintendo. If you got the vouchers, you got $20 off. So basically, you get instead of paying $120, you paid $100, which isn't that much of a deal, but it was a deal. And it is kind of weird, like getting rid of it is kind of a dumb thing in my opinion. Like at that point, it's like, how much money are you losing on this thing?
It's similar to the story we had like a month ago with PlayStation Stars, where it's just like, but even though this sounds a lot better than PlayStation Stars, honestly, but it's a thing of why take the option away unless you're going to implement a better new option. It makes no sense to take away from your consumer like this. I thought vouchers were more insane than that. For some reason, I thought vouchers were always like you could get a free game. Like it was something like, because I swear Jat in the Discord would always be like using my Nintendo voucher, and like I felt like from an outside perspective, as someone who's never used it, I thought it was like if you buy 3 Nintendo games, your 4th one's free. Like so crazy.
Jay uses crazy deals. My man orders games from Hong Kong for $20. I don't even know how that's possible. He got like Pikmin 4, which is a $60 game for $20. I'm like, motherfucker, I'm moving to China now.
I'm gonna send him a box of rocks and be like, nice. This is game you ordered.
Have fun. It's multi-language too, so it's like region free, so he doesn't have to worry about like not working. I hate that guy.
That's kind of crazy. Yeah.
Last one here, Stealth 40K. According to Nate the Hate, the rumored Final Fantasy IX remake could be canceled. And this is a Reset Era post from Nate the Hate. As of last check, it remains in development to my knowledge, but I need to do a fresh check and see what more current status is. As I did hear a month or so ago that it was in trouble and possibly canceled. I only had one source on the cancellation possibility and need to verify the info further. It should be noted that around this time, Square Enix did like kind of a little animation celebrating like the 25th anniversary of Final Fantasy IX, and they were like, "Oh, happy 25 years for Final Fantasy IX." And the fact that they didn't announce the remake at that point is very weird to me, considering this thing, Final Fantasy IX remake, we knew about it since like 2021's like the Nvidia leak. So now I'm like, is it canceled? I personally think it still exists, but at this point, I could take it either way. I don't know anything about this. I didn't read too much into the FF9 remake rumors, so I can't really say too much more past that. But kind of just like a weird thing, honestly.
Yeah, I would be very mad if they canceled this thing after, like you said, we've known about this thing for like 4 to 5 years. We've known that, like that's from what these leakers have said. They've said it's been ready for like 2 years. Like we've known it's been in development for like 5 years. They've said they've been sitting on it for like 2 years. I would be pissed, and then they were like, just kidding. All of a sudden, it's canceled. Like it's different if this was just something we were hearing little sprinkles about throughout the last few years. But no, it's been a thing where like leakers have been adamant that this thing has been done and ready for actual years.
Yeah.
And then for it to go from that to just canceled means either these leakers got completely wrong information or something royally screwed up in the project. I don't know.
Apparently, as Nate said, it's like it's been in trouble. Like it's had some issues behind the scenes. I really, really, really hope they don't FF7 remake this. Listen, I love the 7 remakes, but I'm also like, guys, we don't need to do that for every game. Just do like a faithful remake at this point. You don't need to do too much.
Yeah, I hope, and this is something as someone who hasn't played OG Final Fantasy 9, and is someone who really like I now really enjoy Final Fantasy 7 and like that remake process. I've always been told like Final Fantasy 9 is like the other one in the franchise that like is the fan favorite, and like I want to experience the Final Fantasy 9 story, so I'm hoping this project still exists and hopefully it comes out in a timely manner, and it's not like a 2028 thing from Square at this point. I don't know if it's a situation where maybe Square wanted all of Final Fantasy 7 to be done before they wanted to put out a Final Fantasy 9 remake, and then maybe Final Fantasy 7's taking longer than they expected, and at this point they're just like, well, we can't hold on to Final Fantasy 9 forever, and instead of just putting the game out, you know how Square is, they'll just be like, let's just can it. So
yeah,
I don't
exactly.
know. It's very. I can't like trust Square at this point to do anything, which sucks. But
yeah, no, trust me, Square. I'm not a big Square guy. They did do something cool recently, but I don't want to talk too much about it for spoilers. Let's talk about our review of the week, which is just one Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3+4. Currently standing at an 84 on OpenCritic, 8 out of 10 from IGN, 4 out of 5 from Eurogamer, 8 out of 10 from Game Informer, 8 out of 10 from GameSpot. Lots of 8s all across the board. I picked up my copy today. I'm very excited to jump into it. Really liked 1+2 Remake. It's also on Game Pass. Fusion, are you going to jump into this at all?
probably not. I mean, I liked Tony Hawk a lot when I was younger. Like, I used to go to a neighbor's house all the time. We would play Tony Hawk, create the levels. Like, it was fun, but someone like me now, I'm just not going to. This might be a thing because on Game Pass, I pick it up just for like nostalgia's sake and play a few hours. But I doubt this is ever a thing where I'm just going to sit here and actually take it seriously and play it. Where I know like
you're too good for it.
No, I'm not too good for it. It's just like it's not. I've never been the dude that likes skaters. I've never cared about Tony Hawk. Tony Hawk's the only skateboarder I can name. Like, I can name Bam. Can't name his last name, but I know his first name.
Bam Margera.
Yeah. So it's like there's like I've never cared enough about that like skater culture and like that genre of stuff that Tony Hawk's never spoken to me that way, but I still prefer it over Skate, and I still had moments as a child where I always had the Tony Hawk games, and I was playing them before I found like actual games with story and narrative and things like that. So, I mean, it's cool. But I would say, let me ask you this. Were you surprised that the review, I'm not going to say reviewed low, obviously an 85, 86 is a very great, it's a good review, but I was honestly surprised that like, I was thinking this was going to be high 80s, low 90s.
I think what I was hearing Tim Geddes talk about it especially, it seems like they didn't go as far into the effort of like getting more of the licensed music back, and a lot of customizability is really rough right now. It seems like it's just like this is a remake of 3+4, and they didn't go as far for it as they did for 1+2. And I think they kind of looked at the projections and they were like, okay, we'll probably make our money back if we don't get every licensed track. We kind of just did get a few.
Okay, that makes sense. Because which Tony Hawk's like the highest rated of all time?
I think it's 3 actually.
That's I was just saying that's what I thought. I was just saying that's what I thought. That's why I was surprised. I'm like, well, 3's like, I know 4 isn't like everyone's favorite, but I know 3's like I thought was like the highest rated game of all time. I was for sure thought this game was gonna be like a 92 or something, but I think it's also just the landscape of. I think 1+2 was at 89.
Yeah, 1+2 didn't necessarily get insane reviews either, but yeah, like you said, the landscape, and I think back then there weren't as many reviewers, so it was like 10 reviewers giving it 10s, so that's why it got such a high review score.
It's just one of those things. I think this would be a good topic for a later like own podcast thing.
Yeah.
That it's
why are reviewers so lame?
No, I've been noticing a lot that a lot of those super high rated games of all time, especially in recent years, they get these remakes, get these remasters, and they're like sitting in like the 8 range, which back in the day these games were considered 10s.
Yeah, and Oblivion.
There's more reviewers, but it is just that thing of I think at the end of the day we can hate all we want on modern games, but modern games have truthfully added a lot of systems and things that just makes that experience so much better and so much more smooth, and just everything goes over well. That sometimes you play these remakes, you play these remasters of this old stuff, and you're just like, this still feels old, even though it's a remake or remaster. There's still things from it where you're like, this doesn't feel like a game that started development with fresh ideas in 2024 or whatever. It's like, I think it'd be a fun conversation to have on why remakes and remasters have reviewed, for the most part, substantially less than their counterparts.
Yeah, it's interesting because I don't fully agree with that personally, but yeah, that would be a fun discussion because God, there was a remake recently that reviewed near the same as the original. It wasn't Oblivion. I don't know. I don't remember exactly.
Well, Oblivion's one of the ones I'm thinking of. Like Oblivion was a 93 back in the day, and it reviewed a 80.
To be fair, the remake, Unreal Engine 5 is a fucking travesty, so it's been having a lot.
Let's not act like the game ran well when it first launched. 10 years ago, 20 years ago. So.
No. Back then, people were, maybe. I guess it's like to this idea of like I think technical issues were not nearly as like dinged on back then. I think that's honestly more of what it is.
I think I do agree somewhat with you there that if your game, which is good, I think reviewers have to add performance in the reviews, but some of them don't. But I'm with you there. Where like back in the day, if you hit like 30 FPS, that was cool. Now, if you can't even hit 60, you get points down. So.
Yeah, I mean that would be a fun discussion because we are on opposite sides of the fence there. It was unrelated. Did you see the leaked images of the new Skate?
No, I did not.
Oh my god! Let me post this. Oh, it does not look good.
Oh god, that game can't fail. Like it just can't be bad, or it's gonna be
in general.
Oh god! Oh my golly! I mean, they said that wasn't there like some line of how they said they wanted it more Fortnite like?
Yeah. It looks fucking ass.
Yeah, I see that, and I really think of like the Fortnite epic art style. Like, oh my gosh.
The whole point of Skate was that it was like a realistic simulation style race skating game. So to have this is really fucking dumb. And it's so funny seeing the comments. Everyone's like, nope, this is ass. I'm out. Yeah, unfortunate. Sorry, Skate fans.
All 10 of you.
I hope Hall of Meat is fun. That's what I liked about Skate. Let's talk about what we've been playing. We both have played DS2, but real quick, I want to shout out the Astrobot levels came out. Checked them out yesterday. Ton of fun. Really enjoyed them. The last one is fucking brutal. It is so goddamn hard, but like in a good way hard. I really enjoyed it. I love the cameo characters. There was one in particular that got me really excited. Um, yeah, but like it's really cool that these levels came out and they were a ton of fun. Really fucking difficult. The cameos we finally got. One that I think a lot of people were waiting for. I think I'm good now. I think I'm like, okay, no more free levels. Either do like a big paid DLC or see it for Astrobot 2. Because I really enjoy all this extra content, but I'm also like, I want you guys to like full focus on like something major next time.
Interesting, because I think I haven't played these levels yet. We'll hopefully
Oh
play
yeah,
them
you
at some
should check
point
them out.
this weekend. I'm gonna check them out, but I'm in a similar boat with you as well, where it's like even before playing these levels, I love Astrobot so much. Like we both sat here and gave it a 10. Like that was our
Yeah.
game of the year. It's the thing where now these levels are becoming super spread out. Like it's been a long time since the last levels, and I can't keep coming back like it's a live service game. Like, we said on this podcast with Astrobot after we beat Astrobot, like give us a new level every month. But even then, at least that would have been like I'm coming back every month. It's the thing now where I haven't touched Astrobot in like half a year, so I go back and I'm ass, and I'm
Yep.
playing the hardest levels
Happened to
ever
me.
added, and it just feels like it doesn't feel as good as it should. And it's like I don't want my last memories of Astrobot to be anything but this is the best game ever. So I'm with you there, where it's like I'm struggling to get to these levels and rage super hard, and I don't want that to make me feel less about Astrobot when I look back on Astrobot, because Astrobot is a masterpiece. So it's like
Yeah.
I think they should get to the point now where it's like, okay, we're moving on. Maybe some like holiday stuff, like they did the Christmas level. Maybe they do like a Halloween one later this year. Like things like that is fine, but for the most part, let's go back to working on whatever your next video game is.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, man. I think this is a case of like, you fed me more than well enough. I am now ready to, at the very least, just like a big DLC where we get like full level sized levels type joint, like a new galaxy in that way instead of the challenge levels. But yeah, I'm like knowing Team Asobi, they're like very far ahead on the sequel at this point. They are very efficient, so I assume it's like it won't be long until we see Astrobot 2, I think.
If they did it, if they could just do it like every 3 year cycle, it'd be so good.
Dude,
It'd be so
I
good.
swear to God, that is a perfect universe that I sadly don't think we live in. But man, every 3 years an Astrobot. Hell, every presidential election. Every time I'm sad, just like
Oh
give me an
yeah,
Astrobot
I'll
game.
take it every 4 years.
Last thing, we've both been playing a lot of Death Stranding too. I'm very deep in the game. I think right now I'm actually nearing the end. I'm on chapter I think it was 12 I started. So, and I don't want to say the full amount of chapters, but I'm nearing the very end of the game. I think PlayStation says I'm about 83% of the way through it. I've been having a blast, about 45 hours as well. I really love this game. I think the story is now starting to pick up, which is also when the story picked up for the original Death Stranding, so I wasn't too
Classic.
surprised. Yeah, there's just that's a Kojima thing you got to get used to, is that he really likes to have the story pick up near the end, which honestly I'd rather that than, if anything, honestly. I'm fine with like a slower start. But even then, like I think the start to this game was very strong. I think right now, like I'm very into what is happening in the narrative. The middle chunk was a lot of you're doing deliveries, some cutscenes that don't necessarily tie into each other that well. They're just really cool things happening on screen. And then I'm at the start of this like really cool shit happening, and now the narrative's picking up. Had a very long cutscene last night as well, so I'm like, okay, we're into the weeds of the
Just so you
Kojima
know you're near the
storytelling.
end when the cutscene
Yep.
starts hitting 30 minutes. You're like, okay.
There's a cool feature that shows you like how far the cutscene you are. And I'm like, oh, let me check real quick. It's like, you're a fourth of the way through. It's like, fuck off. That is not a fourth. You're kidding me. I'm like, oh damn, I gotta get comfortable now. But yeah, again, overall very awesome. I do think a lot of the improvements to the delivery system are overall a net positive in my opinion, but man, cars are overpowered. Like they are extremely overpowered this time around. It feels like 90% of deliveries I can just do in a vehicle and not really have to trudge through the terrain. I will say, you saw the big mountain on the map. That going on deliveries there, that is classic Death Stranding one moments for me. where it was like barely hanging on, trying to get to the person, like an ounce of stamina left, just slowly trudging my way through, and then Low Roar starts playing, and you're like, oh my god, that feels great again. It has a lot of that magical Death Stranding energy that I love so much. But at this point right now, I'm like, yeah, this is a sequel to Death Stranding. They've proved everything. I'm waiting to see if the narrative is also improved. Like I said, the narrative doesn't really start till the last 4 hours, so like this is when I'm gonna find out. It's like, okay, here's the story now. Yeah, overall, like I think right now this is my game of the year so far, but also I haven't really played too many games this year, so take that with a grain of salt because Donkey Kong's next week.
I'm actually surprised it's your game of the year over Oblivion at the moment.
That was just me fucking with Jack. That's cheating.
Oh.
It's like that's a 1-to-1 remake.
Well, okay. So you're playing Metal Gear in a different realm?
No, Metal Gear. That I'm biased.
Okay. Well, I thought you were going to be biased towards Oblivion as well, but
I mean, listen. What I learned, Fusion, is that I'm extremely inconsistent.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. It's just whenever you wake up and feel that day.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm kind of saying. I was before I get into my thoughts. I will ask just because we talked about it multiple times in this podcast. Do you think if the story does not hit near the end there, is it going to be a Spider-Man versus Spider-Man 2 situation?
100%. I'm very curious to see how the story lands because if it doesn't, I do think I will like the first game more, even with all the improvements.
You're a story over gameplay guy.
No, don't do that to
me. I mean, we're coming to some conclusions here that I feel like
you didn't listen to no, because my thing is I like the gameplay more than enough in Death Stranding 1. Same with Ghost of Tsushima 1, same with Spider-Man 1, where I'm like, this is all I need. I'm happy with this gameplay. Now the story is gonna be the thing that adds to it. Never call me a story versus gameplay guy. That's evil.
So it's the blessing quote that I used in the Discord the other day. Now, I'm gonna butcher, but he talks about gameplay is now, story is forever. Like I'm in a similar boat with you where I was just side tangent. I think Spider-Man 2 is a better video game than Spider-Man. But when I think about the Spider-Man video game, I'm thinking back about that story of Spider-Man more than I ever do about Spider-Man 2. Even if I think Spider-Man 2 is a better made video game, I think Spider-Man 1 had a more lasting impact.
No, I'm with you there.
So that's the whole story versus gameplay. Obviously I know you're not a more story than gameplay guy, but I think when it comes to our favorite games ever and looking back on them, the story is normally that thing that like holds the power.
I think for me, it's that story is like an additive. I am not there for the story, but if the story is really good, it adds to it. It's like it takes a 9 out of 10 and makes it a 10, or an 8 out of 10 takes it to a 9. That's how I feel. But like it's more so, Fusion. What it is if your gameplay is ass, I'm just not interested. That's kind of
it.
But it's like, oh, the story's really good. It's like, yeah, but I don't like playing the game,
Yeah, that makes sense. It's a thing where, like you said, a story can add points to it. A bad story for someone like you, I sound like will never take points away if the gameplay's good. Like if the story's fine and you can just ignore the story, you're just like whatever. You're like, this game's an 8, the combat's great, the story's bad, I don't care. So like I understand where it comes from. My thoughts as someone who's not as far as you, I'm about half your hours. I'm at 20. I rolled 20 hours this morning when I got some time in.
Nice.
I just beat chapter 5, so again, like 7 chapters behind you. I'm really enjoying it. I think, like you said, it is more just Death Stranding, which it's Death Stranding, but at this point, a lot easier. Which I'm not mad at.
Very easy, yeah.
I'm not mad at. Like you said, the vehicles are OP. I agree, and I don't care. You won't see me leave the vehicle. I won't be in that truck the rest of the game until I can't be in the truck. I love just getting in the truck, loading it up with 400 pounds of materials, and just going to build a road, and then coming back and getting more materials and going to build a road. Like that's why I did so much in Death Stranding 1, and that's what I'm just doing again. Except it's making it easier on me, and I'm getting less frustrated. Like, I haven't seen a BT in probably 15 hours.
Oh, my God.
And I'm like, I'm loving that.
Even 40 hours in, they're still annoying as shit. They are still aggravating to deal with. Dude, it got to the point where I'm like, okay, I have these powerful weapons. I can kill them now. And they still don't die. It's like, okay, are they meant to die? Because I killed one early on, and now it's like they're invincible, apparently. I don't go. I hate BTs. They still suck.
Yeah. So, like, I haven't seen a BT. Like, I haven't had to really deal with BTs. And like when I'm just out in the open world in a hot minute, a lot of it is because at this point I have so many roads that I'm just constantly moving from road to road, and like BTs will spawn on the road. But I am in that spot where I'm interested in the story. I'm finally at a point where I'm getting a lot of characters we've seen in the trailers. Like I'm finally at a point where it's like, oh, I'm meeting this person and this person. Like, oh, I know their face. I'm not getting super deep into it with them yet, but at least they're in my game now. Like I can at least experience some of it. But I don't. It's hard because I don't remember Death Stranding. I think the pacing is better in this game, but
Oh
I
yeah,
don't remember
100%.
Death Stranding's story like you and Binks both say being so backloaded. Like I remember there was
Yeah,
a middle part of Death Stranding where the story was still super strong and super like in your face. Where in this one it feels like I have not actually looked at a main mission or thought about the main mission in 10 hours. Like, and then the main mission I just did, it added some stuff, but it was one of those situations where it's like this didn't make a lot of sense, and this actually has nothing to do with what I was doing. So
it's like there's a lot of cool stuff happening on screen, and it's like, okay, I guess that's it. And
yeah,
then it's like more questions than answers.
yeah, that's like exactly what just happened to me, and it's like okay, I'm fine with it. Like I'm here doing the other delivery stuff, and the other delivery stuff is fun. So like it is what it is, but it is a bit weird where a story perspective where I thought the story would be way more in my face, and it does feel like Kojima has taken an even step back from Death Stranding and throwing that story in your face, which I thought was going to be the opposite, especially the way we've seen
Yeah.
those trailers and the way he's portrayed the games and all the showings is like I thought the story was going to be way more in your face, way more like this is what's actually happening. But at this moment, 20 hours in, it's not, which again isn't a bad or good thing.
It,
It's just something I've noticed.
it's interesting. You're not you haven't played the Metal Gear games, but like he's kind of been on the road of like doing a lot more gameplay stuff actually, surprisingly enough, where you look at a lot of the early Metal Gear games have a lot of cutscenes, and like MGS4 famously has an hour and a half long cutscene, and then when it came to MGS5, its storytelling is actually very similar to what's happening in Death Stranding 2, where it's like you have a cutscene, something cool happens, and then okay, on to the next mission. Where MGS5 was so gameplay focused, and it led to some 10 out of 10 gameplay, but the story kind of suffering for that sake. And I wonder if it's gonna be that same issue with this game, but the difference here is that MGS5 was not finished. So that's why the story was kind of like whatever in that game. Now that this is a complete narrative, I wonder if Kojima's vision is more palpable of like, okay, he did do a lot of those things earlier for a reason, and now like the ending like 4 hours is going to be really like something experiential.
I could see that, and again, from a gameplay perspective, I mean, this is just everything just better in this game than Death Stranding 1. Like the vehicles feel better. I feel like the movement feels better. The combat, like I'm
Oh,
actually
the
having fun
combat! Oh
going
my
to these
god!
like bandit camps and like doing the stealth and like even if my stealth fails, which sometimes it does, I'm just like I'm shooting them and it feels pretty good. Like I'm getting
Yep.
into engagements where again it is a little too easy at times, but I'm never someone who like I would rather your game be like easy than super hard just to be hard. Unless you're like a Souls game or something, which we've talked about, where it's like that's the purpose of those games. I don't want my Death Stranding 2 experience to be a Souls game. So like, if Kojima had to choose between being the next Souls game or just being a little bit easier and more casual, I would prefer my delivery sim to be more casual. So like, it's not a con of any reason for me, and I think the terrain is a lot I don't wouldn't necessarily call it way like more flat than Death Stranding 1. I just think the vehicles can get over these rocks and stuff way easier compared to Death Stranding 1. And to me,
Yeah.
I prefer that. Like I don't like if the way we traversed in this game was the way as Death Stranding 1, I think this game would be 150 hours. Like I think it would be incredibly long. I think Kojima understood this game's going to be already long by nature. I can't make it double the length because of the annoyance of the traversal and getting around the map. So I think Kojima did a great job of saying, "Hey, we're still going to make it where it's not just a breeze. Like you're still going to have to think about your path and what type of thing you're going to do, but it's not going to be as hard as Death Stranding 1 where it's going to add 40 hours to your playthrough." I will say, so far the natural disasters have added nothing.
Yeah,
I don't know
they're
if you've
very
experienced
like
that also 40 hours in.
one or two.
Like,
Dude, there was one that was really funny to me. They showed it in the trailer, an avalanche,
mhm.
and I was just like, okay. And I moved to the side, and they didn't hit me at all. I'm like, okay, well, that was like the least consequential thing ever.
Yeah, there's like those moments where like it will say like a gate quake is hitting or like this place is flooding. I'm like I've
Grip for
never
balance.
yeah, never had to experience like I haven't which granted I would probably prefer, because if I have a message that says your road you just built got destroyed by a flood, I would get tilted and I would lose my mind. Especially
Yeah,
after getting 2,000 ceramics for the road, I would be mad. So like I understand why it hasn't been happening, but I just remember in the trailer and in the previews they were talking about like, yeah, your roads are gonna get like destroyed, your bridges, like flood's gonna ruin them. I haven't experienced any of that 20
nope.
hours in.
Yep. Yeah, no, it's weird where like I feel like they were really hyping it up, and it kind of comes out as like they feel very scripted. Like, oh, it's meant to happen here, and it
Yes.
just doesn't really do much.
Like you're coming up to like a new place you got to connect to the network. Here comes the gatequake, or here comes this, or like
Yep.
now the gosh, I guess I'm blanking on the ship name. What is it?
The Magellan.
Yeah, the Magellan. Like
Is it?
it's
Oh no.
always something natural disaster to make the ship not be able to leave. Like it's like,
Oh,
oh,
the
you can't use the ship
Taw
right now.
current. It's
Yeah,
like, what the
like
fuck are you talking about?
things like that. Like, oh, this gatequake happened, we can't move. It's like, okay, this is very much scripted compared to a just natural open world event. And then my other small complaint is I have all of you guys added. I have not seen a single structure from any of you. And I
Oh,
know you guys are building things, so I don't understand why I can't see your guys' stuff.
I saw a few from bench.
Oh,
But
great. That's probably
yeah.
helped you none. You're like,
No,
well,
they've literally done nothing. Yeah. He
like,
made a ladder over a water thing, and there was a bridge right next to it. It's like, okay, thanks, bench. I guess.
like I'm building so many roads, so many things. I just wish I could see more of your guys' stuff where it's like, I don't know if it's because you guys are substantially further than me or what, where it just feels less of. I'm seeing a lot of people's stuff, obviously, because people in the world. But I remember Death Stranding 1, I didn't even play it at launch. I played the director's cut, and I remember seeing a lot of my
Same.
brother's stuff still, and a lot of like people on my friends list. I saw a lot of their stuff where it's like I have not seen. I have 5 friends added, and then my brother. I have not seen any of your guys' stuff. I'm like, that doesn't make sense. Like
Weird. Yeah.
we're all connected. I should be able to. Especially since you guys are
Where's our
ahead.
strands?
I know. Especially since you guys are ahead of me, I feel like I should be seeing more of your stuff. Like I should be able to get to a new location,
hmm
connect to the network, and be like, oh, that's Binch's ladder. Oh, that's this part. You know what I mean? Like I should be able to see that now because you guys are ahead of me. You guys should be laying the path for me. That's the entire point of the system. I haven't seen any of it.
I wonder. Yeah, I guess maybe like because we are so far ahead that like maybe the structures just aren't appearing for you, or I don't know. That's weird because it's also like I've noticed I'm the only one contributing to these fucking roads. So like I'm like sitting here with like 1,400 ceramics, and then I come back to that road. I'm like, okay, it just needs 600. It'll probably get built on its own. And then some guy contributes 80. It's like, what the fuck, dude? At that point, don't even contribute. I don't want your shit anymore. But
It's
like,
just different for the likes. It's like I'm gonna put these in
yeah,
there, so when this thing's up, I'm getting likes.
yeah, exactly. It's like I don't even know. Like, I think it's a weird thing where they kind of half the density, so it makes sure that like, no, you're still building stuff, even if you use other people's stuff. Like, you're gonna be building a ton on your own time to make sure that like you're still building stuff. Maybe that's what it is. I don't fully understand the strand system really as much as I love it.
Yeah,
But yeah, that is weird. I feel like I would have seen more benches stuff.
I'm with you there. Where it's like I don't. I've every road on my map right now I built, and 90%
Yeah.
of it, like you know, like I understand. I'm sure it's which I'm pretty sure Death Stranding 1 was the same way. I forget, but I swear in Death Stranding 1 there was like more roads where other people built that I just got
Oh
to
yeah.
use.
I've had people like build like a ton of roads for me when I
Yeah, and
played
I'm like I
Nintendo.
felt like way more in Death Stranding 1 that I could use other people's roads compared to this one. There had not been a single road on my map, and I probably have like 20 plus now that I've built that anyone else put before me. So it's like it could just be that nature of Kojima's like, well, we don't want to take everything away from the player. We want the player to have to go
Yeah.
out and build the roads and stuff. So like I understand why maybe they did scale it back and maybe that is something they talked about at some point and we just missed it. But it does feel a little bit like less connection than I remember the first game having, which feels a little bit backwards. But again, that's not like a huge complaint. I'm still seeing hundreds of structures out there. It's just none of my like close friends who I'm like, this is cool to see in the game. I'm not getting those experiences at the moment.
Yeah, last thing I want to bring up before we go, the soundtrack. We were talking about this. We think Woodkid is overall strong, just not to the same level as Low Roar. And you know, at the end of the day, like sadly, the lead singer for Low Roar passed away. Unfortunately, like around like 2022. Low Roar does still have a lot of songs in this game, even some from Death Stranding 1. But I think right now my big issue, well, two big issues. One, On the Beach is a fucking awful song. horrible song. I am shocked that like that's the thing that Kojima's like, yes, you will make a song for my game, Caroline. And that's what she submitted. I'm sorry, Caroline. That's really, really bad song. But number 2 for me, there's not enough songs. I feel like I'm constantly like I add every song that plays onto my playlist, except like 1 or 2. And I'm always like, okay, well, the playlist is now reset again because it feels like there's so much gameplay that like I'm constantly resetting the playlist and having to start from the beginning. I just wish it's like, just give me all the songs that were in Death Stranding 1 and like have that be my starting playlist. That way I'm not constantly resetting the soundtrack and able to actually listen to something new every like 2 or 3 days I put in a session, I guess.
I'm with you there. I will say, again, only 20 hours in, but I've had way less moments of I'm going to point A to point B, the artist pops up on the screen, and then I have a moment with music. I felt like Death Stranding 1 had so many of those moments, and there was a lot of low roar, and maybe this is just a thing where Woodkid didn't have as many songs as low roar, and like all these other artists who Kojima's having to use this time around, maybe they didn't have a huge discography to use. That could have just been a situation. Yeah, they could have just been. It could just be a situation like that. So Kojima had to spread them out more. But it is that thing where I do wish there were more moments of me going to a new place, and then it's like because those are my favorite moments from Death Stranding 1.
Same.
When the music would settle in, it's me in my truck or me just walking, and it's just like nothing else happening in the world. You feel safe because you know no BTs are coming. Like when the music hits, you just know it's just you getting to your next location.
Final leg on the journey.
Yes. Yeah. And it's like I remember always just even still now in this game, I always make sure before the music finishes, like I just stop moving. I'm like, I'm moving too fast.
Yep, right there with you.
Finish the song, and then I'll get to my location. It's like those are my favorite moments. And I remember Death Stranding off the rip had like 7 in a row, and they were all so good. This game, I feel like I'm 20 hours in, and I maybe have like 5. Like I have like 5 or so that I've noticed, and they haven't been as strong as songs. One because one's on the beach, and I'm like the song
is so bad.
It's great, but like. My favorite song, 20 hours into this moment, is still, I think it's called Dancing with Ghosts.
Yeah, Dancing Ghosts.
That's like the second song in the game. Like, that song was 18 hours ago. So it's that weird situation where I think the OST, overall, I think by the end of the game will be strong. It does scare me a little bit that you say you're 45 hours in and it's still not your favorite.
I think there's still a lot of strong music. There is way more songs. I actually think they actually kind of backfill the songs where a lot of the really good stuff is near the end. It's from God, I forget the artist's name. It's the I forget his name, but there's a couple artists I get Magnolian. I get really excited when that pops up, and obviously Low Roar and even Woodkid. Like he has way less. It's substantially fewer than I thought. There were way more from the other artists than there were Woodkid, which is weird. But, I always get excited for a Low Roar song. And, like, the music that's there is very good, but I guess I haven't had anything that really hit me to the level that Rolling Over did with DS1, where I'm like, I think that song is, like, by far the song that best represents my emotional connection to Death Stranding 1. There isn't a single song in this soundtrack that's anywhere near as good. And maybe that's just really high standards because that's like one of my favorite songs ever. But I'm also like, oh, come on. Like -61, the opening song got really close for me. But even then, it's like still not to the same level. Yeah, it's incredible. It's just, I'm still like, I guess maybe I'm just being unfair because like it has been a while since I played Death Stranding 1. Maybe if I went back to it, it's like, oh, I guess the soundtrack doesn't have as many bangers in a row than I
can promise you it's still as good. I listen to the DS1 soundtrack a lot. I think that's why it's just kind of, I think it's an unfair comparison.
Yeah,
I think it's truthfully the thing of, in my opinion, again, it's just opinions and everyone's going to be different. Death Stranding 1's like a top 5 video game soundtrack I've ever listened to. Mm-hmm. And it was, again, unfortunate situation of, I know Kojima wanted to use more Low Roar. Like he 100% was like fully in on Low Roar. People love Low Roar. And then the unfortunate passing of you can't, and I know the family offered Kojima to use on like songs that weren't out, like the songs that were like these have never been released, and Kojima declined out of respect. That's just
I respect that.
Yeah, like out of respect, he was like, I just don't want to do that. Like he never released these. I'm not going to put any in the game. Like, but he had the option, so it's like could have went that route. Whatever the correct answer is, it is what it is. But it's like. I want a situation where there is something fighting Claire Obscura for best OST at the end of the year, and at the moment it's not.
Oh, trust me, next week that's for me.
I mean, maybe
Actually,
I don't know. I think
honestly,
it's perhaps.
my real answer is Mario Kart World, but that's because it has like 300 songs, and
Yeah,
they're all like remixes from my favorite franchise. So, like, yeah, well, that's an obvious one.
and I think Claire Obscura is going to be hard to beat, but it is,
Yeah, it
real
probably
quick side
is.
tangent, a thing where I've been listening back to like the Claire Obscura soundtrack, and my one issue with that soundtrack now is all the songs are almost identical. And it's like, it's that thing where it's like
Yeah, I'm slow, but the battle's
in the
slow.
moment they feel so good, but now when I'm listening to it, like in my free time when I'm working or something, I'm like, I just played 10 of the exact same songs, basically.
Yeah,
Like
fuck
almost
this.
the exact same song.
Fuck this. I'm playing on the beach.
We're like, Death Stranding 2, I think at the end of the day is going to have such a more diverse OST that, like,
Oh
I
yeah,
don't
it's
know if it'll be
very
enough for it to
diverse.
win, but I want it to at least be in the conversation. So I'm hoping by the time I get to the end of the game, I feel a lot more strong with the OST. I don't think it's ever going to be DS1 levels. I think that was nearly impossible. And that's one thing I said on this podcast like a year ago. I was like, I just don't think it's ever going to reach those heights. But from what I've heard, I think it could use a little bit more to it. There's, like I said, On the Beach should never be in the game.
God.
Rewrite it. No, we're,
I,
we're giving a lot of crap to that song. It's not that bad. It's not
it's
like it's the
like
worst song I've ever
I
listened
was
to. It's
talking
just not
about
what
it.
I expected.
The beat is really good to that song. I really like the beat, but the auto tune singing is horrid. It just sound it. I guess like I want the soundtrack to Death Stranding to feel more natural, and that
Yes.
song is so synthetic to me.
I think that's the thing. That's the beef I have with the song. It's just like it's literally named On the Beach. Like it's the game song. Like it is
Yeah.
the song you're supposed to be like, oh, this is like the song for the game. Like, and I don't want to show anyone that song. So
Oh,
it's like
also,
it is what it is.
I mean, you were right about Death Stranding 1's OST being peak. I just remembered Bones, man, from
Dude, it's
Lore.
so
Oh my
good. I
god.
mean, it is.
And
I'm
like
telling you,
also
it is a peak soundtrack.
the way you were talking about like the soundtrack coinciding with the gameplay, the final delivery in Death Stranding 1 without the music is whatever. With the music, bro, I was tearing up. Like the BB's theme playing for the final delivery, you know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that moment stands out to me so much as like an all-timer gaming moment because of the music that was playing and the circumstances of everything. And it's like it really emotionally stands out. And I haven't had a like the music plays when I'm like near the end of the delivery and it's strong, but like I guess you know what it is, Fusion? And maybe this is so unfair to Death Stranding 2, but I think it's like I Death Stranding 1 is just such a hard experience to recapture. Where like you make a sequel and it's like, yeah, you did everything right, but like it was that one in a kind, like Death Stranding 1, this AAA game that is doing this thing happened one time. And now you do it again, and it doesn't hit nearly as hard.
Yeah, I again, it is like it is that type of game where for a lot of people, Death Stranding 1 is very special. Like it's just a special experience, and you can't just, for the most part, you can make a better game, but you might not be able to recreate that special experience. And I think
Yeah.
that's the situation with Death Stranding 2 right now. If
A
we were
really
getting,
fucking
if
good
I
game.
hear, yeah, if I hear don't be so serious, if they could throw that song into that game, it could be the last song of the game. I don't care. From Death Stranding 1 into Death Stranding 2, dude, I think I'd cry. I think tears. I think I'd immediately give it a 10. Just
Yeah,
because
go ahead.
I mean, just like I just remember that song. Like that would be. I want Death Stranding 2. Now my ass right now is I want the last song of Death Stranding 2 to be a song from Death Stranding 1. I don't know if it will be. We'll find out, but that would be my ask. And so everything with your soundtrack will be correct if you do that, Kojima.
Yeah, I think overall we're both very, very positive on Death Stranding 2. It's just so hard to recapture the magic of Death Stranding 1, even if you do everything right. And I will say this to end it off. I do think this will, by the end of the year, be in my top 5, probably top 10. It depends, but I'm leaning towards top 5 because I just really love that gameplay, man. That gameplay loop never gets tiring to me.
It is crazy how like just system like delivery system like the gameplay is we're delivering and it's still so good. I'm with you where
Yeah.
I don't think there's a I don't think there's a world where Death Stranding 2 comes out of my top 5. And like if it keeps going, it's going to compete for me once I roll credits against Clair Obscur. It really is.
And
And like
Citizen Sleeper.
yeah, Citizen Sleeper. And it's like and I think Clair Obscur is a very special game. I don't think like if I roll credits today, I think Claire's are the better video game than me, in my opinion. But it's just like I'm still really, really enjoying Death Stranding 2. And I don't know if it's as special as the Death Stranding 1 experience, like we said, but I think it is at this point a better video game 20 hours in. Again, we'll see when I roll credits, but like I think it is just a better crafted video game.
Very strong year for games. Death Stranding 2 yet again showing like how strong this year has been for games. And it's gonna get even stronger. I mean, next week is Donkey Kong. Next month we're getting Shinobi. We're getting Metal Gear, Silent Hill F in September. Ghost of Yotei. We talked about like it's a pretty insane year, and also Silksong. It'll show up somewhere.
Dude, I'm telling you, we're gonna record a podcast for the next month and have a Silksong release date. I'm telling you, it's gonna happen.
Next month? Okay, listen. Now you're
Within
getting
the
a little
next
cocky. Within a month, we'll see.
I think so. I think we're gonna do it.
I want to believe for you. Anyways, we went on a bit longer than I expected, actually, but you know, we had good conversation, Fusion. Thank you so much for joining me, man.
That's fun as always.
If you guys want to find us, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, leave us reviews. Follow us on Twitter and Blue Sky at Slice of Gaming. That's it. Say goodnight, everybody.
Good night. Play Death Stranding 1 if you haven't, and then if you have, go play Death Stranding 2. Great game.
Death Stranding 2, Goaty, baby.